Parents, grandparents, guardians, listen up. There's something on TikTok that's going around, and it's dangerous. Rania Moncarios is the head of Crime Stoppers in Houston. Has been with us a few times. Thanks for joining us again this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So it's hard not for me to sound like an old man here because, what came first? The idea of doing it on TikTok? Or, is it a real thing? And talk to us a little bit about how dangerous it is.
Yeah, well, it's actually a science experiment, and many of us did it growing up, but we did it in the confines of the lab. There was a fire extinguisher, goggles, tongs. You had your teacher nearby. But now kids are doing it at home. They think it's funny. They want to go viral. They're doing it in bedrooms and garages, and they're getting seriously hurt. We know a child out of East Haven, Connecticut, was severely burned participating in the Whoosh bottle challenge. And it basically what they're doing is getting a large polycarbonate water bottle, typically used for a water cooler, using isopropyl alcohol, coating the bottle, pushing it around, letting the alcohol separate, and then dropping a match into the bottle and watching it explode. So it is a real thing, and we've got to be aware that kids are doing it and finding this funny to post.
So I guess maybe just sit Johnny down and say everything that you see, I'm assuming it's a little boy, everything that you do, you see on TikTok, you shouldn't necessarily do without talking to us it seems just so common sensey, but it's actually happening and kids are getting hurt.
Yeah, it's common sense to you or I, but think of a tween or a teen or a young adult who's what we call, the prefrontal cortex is not developed. That whole risk versus reward mechanism in the brain is completely off, mixed with biological changes that puberty brings with it. You're not dealing with a young adult that thinks reasonably. You're dealing with a young child that thinks about being seen, fitting in, trending, being liked. You're looking at a young child that will do anything to take a risk and to get a reward, which for them means to trend. And that's what they're focused on. That's what they're doing. So we've got to understand that that's where our kids are coming from and couple that with all the various issues of the online world. And you have a recipe for a disaster. I recently just released a book on this very topic. It's a book called The Online World, What You Think You Know and What You Don't. And it's really written as a parent's evergreen guide to keep our kids safe online, but it's filled with rules and exercises for families that kids will actually understand and it will guide kids to make the right choices online wherever they find themselves in spaces parents are unaware of indefinitely, because we've got to do whatever we can to keep our kids safe.
I'm curious, real quick, when you see this, I know Facebook has responded sometimes to this, but what type of action can you take against a company like TikTok when they display stuff like this or even other things that potentially could be hazardous?
There's not much. You look at Dr. Laura Berman and Sam Chapman and the death of their son Sammy after he purchased what he thought was potentially Percocet for 15 cents on Snapchat, and it killed him instantly. There's really not much a parent can do. Social media giants are very, very, very much protected by Section 230, and a lot of parents across the country are actually working to change that. There's a petition right now called Let Parents Protect, and we encourage everybody, if you have 40 seconds today, search that hashtag and go sign that petition. But really, we've got to put pressure on social media giants who have no incentive to curb these trending things because the eyeballs raise dollars for them. But we've got to put pressure on them to do better. And we know that they can weed out information. We saw it with COVID. You just start writing CO, and all of a sudden you get a COVID alert on, just placed there by social media giants. So they can do it, but we need them to be on top of this. And I'll say with TikTok, they have said that they will remove any videos pertaining to the Whoosh bottle challenge or experiment that are not shown to be done with safety measures in place. And even those that do exhibit safety measures in place, TikTok will not feed those videos in the For You page of the TikTok platform. So they're taking small steps, not, baby steps. Will take anything at this point because really they don't have to do anything.
Author and head of Houston's Crime Stoppers, Rania Moncarios, consume everything she writes. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me.